Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Enterprise Morning here at Enterprise Television. I'm Chinyere Igwe. Well, to think that today's a holiday morning and it makes it all the more interesting. Henry, what do you think?
Yeah, of course, we'd love to start by saying Happy Eid al-Fitr to all our Muslim friends watching us from any part of the world. And of course, I hope you got your gift.
Well, I did early this morning from a neighbor.
Lucky for you.
Yes. All right, in the meantime, you may visit all our social media handles and Enterprise TV7 all across our platforms and our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Kindly like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And that's our first segment today as we look at the newspaper. As we look at the newspapers this morning is Barrister Evans Ofeli. He's a household name and needs no further introduction. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome to
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, without further ado, let's head straight to the dailies and see what we have. We're beginning with the Daily Times. And the big story there reads, Kano government to arraign Ganduje April 17.
And also on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have a Naira abuse, a Salah holiday stalls Bobrisky's sentence.
Yes, we also have hike in electricity tariff. Reps will intervene upon resumption of plenary, and this is credited to Kano.
And also on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, we have finance, high interest rates, a bane of domestic airlines, and that's coming from KMO.
And also the bottom strip, provide special support mechanism for strategic industries. LCCI urges federal government.
And lastly, on the Daily Times newspaper, we have a Nigeria's mobile subscription hit 219.7 million in February.
Right, it's about time we stay on the big story. Kano government to arraign Ganduje April 17. And of course, we have our guest here, the legal luminary who's elected to the poll to look at the issues. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, so we have the story. Kano government to arraign Ganduje April 17. And when I looked at this report this morning, I reflected quickly on the video, the viral video that went viral when Ganduje was governor. And you know, it sort of beats my mind. He's the national chairman of the APC, which is a ruling party. And this is not the first time we are seeing issues like this play out in Nigeria. And some people are questioning, could this be that, Ganduje might be, convicted and maybe arrested? Is it a possibility? We love that you give us an unabridged understanding by law. And then, given the Nigerian situation, he's from the ruling party. Do you think at this time, from the body language of the president, that Ganduje might just be, put under the bus?
Have you read the full story?
Okay, so I have to do that. Just a minute. Harry, do you have the full story?
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Yes, I did read the full story.
Because sometimes the headlines will be saying a different thing, and the body will be saying a different thing. I have not read the story, but I can make my expression on the face value of it. What we have in the banner headline, that the Kano state government, wants to prosecute him. Of course, the offense was committed in Kano, was committed by an ex-governor. So the Kano state government have jurisdiction to prosecute him. But now that you are giving him notice ahead of time, have you chained him somewhere? Have you arrested him and kept him in detention? Or are you publishing this so that before he gets to that date, he would have disappeared or something like that? So I mean, if we are going to arrange someone, you start to give him notice beforehand or before time, as if you are inviting him for an event. I don't think that was tidy. They are supposed to take him unawares because the offense was committed sometime in the past. Now, time does not run against the state in criminal prosecution. Even if you commit an offense 100 years after, you can be prosecuted. Yes, because criminal liability or criminal offenses cannot run into statute bar.
Okay.
So I like what the state is doing because we have evidence of what transpired. The evidence is all over the internet, even as we speak. Except that after that event, he was still very popular in Kano, that he won election again. Yes, he won election again. He even dethroned one of the emirs. After all that, he was still very popular and powerful. So now that the state have woken up from their slumber, they want to prosecute him. Let's see how it's going to go. But the state will need to prove beyond that video. Yes, they have to prove beyond that video.
How do you mean that? Prove beyond
Yes, he was found putting money in his car, Babariga, and everywhere. That's the pictorial video evidence of what we have seen. But the state will have to prove that those funds he was putting in Babariga and everything were proceeds of crime. You see, it's not enough to find money with people and you think they are guilty already. No. There's a step ahead of that. Of course, which the state can actually establish with witnesses. You understand? Because the video evidence is not sufficient. You caught somebody on camera putting money here, putting money there. Who gave him that money? There's an allegation that's from a contractor, right? That is a kickback for a project. You will not get witnesses to that effect to corroborate that angle. You can see me on, let's say there's a CCTV camera here, and all of a sudden the CCTV camera just pick me, packing money, putting in my cap and all that. So with that alone, I can be convicted. If you are a judge sitting on that, there's no other evidence other than that, you convict me. How? You run into errors now. You need
more than enough evidence.
You need evidence to entrench the fact that those funds were proceeds of crime, that they were bribed or they were kickback or there's something. You have to go further. So I'm just saying that the state knows what to do. They have an attorney general, they have a legal, they have a Ministry of Justice for that matter. And this is not the first case they will be prosecuting. So they can do the needful. They can do what they ought to do.
All right, so quickly let's move on to the next story, still on the Daily Times newspaper, and we have it here. Nigeria's mobile subscription hit 219.7 million in February. Now, I think it's very important we understand the population of Ghana, about 30 million people. Egypt is about 80 million people, both father, mothers, children, everyone.
Yes.
The mobile subscription for Nigeria is 219.7 million.
Yes.
Now the question is, what are we not getting right, and why is it difficult for us to take advantage of this very important economy of scale?
Well, in terms of population and market.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is why, you see the whole news that you hear about Nigeria. The key one here, key this, the kidnap, the Chinese, the Lebanese, and Indians. They don't hear, they block their ear against those things, but the money they are making from here is too much not to come here. You understand? It's the multinational, those ones that have made so much from Nigeria that they are tired. They are the ones leaving. The Indians and Lebanese and the Chinese.
They're still working
They are coming in droves. Like, they at some point, they had to even stop issuing visas to some of them. If we're giving visa, Nigerian visa is difficult to get to. You're not aware. Go and ask the foreigners. It's very tough to get a Nigerian visa to come here. No, as bad as we think this country is.
Really?
Nigeria is not bad one bit. What we don't have is just leadership. That's all. Nigeria is one of the best places ever. You just step out now, step out into the gutter and start to urinate directly into the gutter. Go and try that in the UK. You will stay in prison for as long as possible. So yeah, things are quite. So this huge population, the owner of MTN, when MTN first started, they made a projection of 10 years, profit margin of a projection of 10 years. The man hit the money in 2 years.
Really?
He packed out from South Africa. He stays in Ikoyi. He left his country and came here. So when we have this huge market and we are complaining, we are not taking advantage of our population. You understand? We need, also because our school system does not even teach you, give you the right tools for critical thinking. If you come up with a product, for example, in Lagos, where you have about 20 million people, just come up with a product that can sell proper, that you get at least 10 naira profit from each. If you put 10 naira down by, let's say, half of the population. So we have a huge market, but we have a lot of challenges. Because if you want to go into manufacturing now, you won't have power supply to do that. They will classify you into band A, band B, band C. If you want to do a full scale, you get people who are violating and sabotaging you and all that. So we have a lot of challenges.
All right.
But the few people who have been able to walk through these challenges, check the few entrepreneurs we have, they're the ones that really have cash flow in the economy. So that is what it is.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Evans. Let's now move to the Daily Trust newspaper. The big story here reads, Tinubu tasks citizens on unity, nation building. And the rider goes, National Assembly leadership government, preach love and sacrifice. The third rider, embrace moral rectitude, can tell you this.
Yes, and of course we have on the top strip of the same newspaper, Plateau Assembly crisis, uncertainty over fate of 7 APC lawmakers.
And also on the top strip, Atiku to Tinubu, discuss cost of Lagos Calabar Highway project.
And so I think this should be a congratulatory message to the Super Falcons. They qualified for the 2024 Olympics after 16 years of trying.
Right, let me just stay on this story. Atiku to Tinubu, discuss cost of Lagos Calabar Highway project. Again, Barrister Evans, do you see Atiku as someone that has the low cost to make such demands to the subsisting president?
Well, it's not the low cost now because it's doing it for the entire public or the entire country. Atiku is the least person that should ask anybody to be accountable. It shouldn't. That is the least person to do that. But we're not looking at the messenger. What we're asking is that, is the message relevant? Because the citizens are supposed to know the worth of the contract. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway that was in court, out of court, the companies involved before and over that. We could see, you could read in the newspaper, you see the cost of the contract by Courtney, when by Courtney came in, when he left, when they went to court, the project was stalled for over 4 years and all that. We could see all those projects. But this Lagos Calabar, I mean, all we hear is that they will tow it, they will do this, they will do that. We don't know the cost of the project. But what Atiku should do is not to call on the president, is to apply with the Freedom of Information Act. Through the Freedom of Information Act, you can make an application for any public document whatsoever. At his level, that is what he ought to do. His lawyers should tell him. You don't call on the president. So the president may not have the figure in his head to just tell you, but there are documents to that effect. So you need to apply to the Ministry of Works, and then as an ex-president, you can copy the president so that he can minutes and ask them to get those records across. That's what they ought to do, Atiku ought to do. But it's playing politics from Dubai. It's calling the president out, playing opposition. I don't think that's the right thing to do. That's not how to go about it. He knows what to do. He should undertake the process.
All right.
Any Nigerian can apply for any documents.
Okay, fine. All right, so before we move on to the next paper, I think in a brief, let's take a look at, let's go international for a bit. There's a story here we skipped. 400 bodies recovered from Gaza hospital after Israel troops withdrawal. Now, the question is, because of course we understand the importance of what happens in one corner of the world affecting the rest of, so the question is, what do you think this would mean for international politics when the United States is about taking away what it feels is support for Israel, and especially coming from the presidential elections that's coming, or what do you think this pertains for Israel when every ally are beginning to move back?
Yeah, because even when the Israel has taken this thing beyond proportion, they've blown it up to a point where they are not listening to anybody. You see, they have destroyed and killed, and I mean, Hamas started this thing. But the people you are hitting now is not Hamas. you are making that whole space ungovernable for even neighboring countries that were never involved in the attack that Hamas. So, in a way, it's a lesson to Hamas, okay, because they do all these things most time, believing that they can always get away with it. No country can stretch them. But Israel is stretching them to a point where, can you imagine that the Israeli troop and the command are no longer listening to the American, even South Africa. South Africa took the case to court against Israel. There is nobody that there's nobody that has spoken to Israel.
So does that mean Israel is beyond?
Everybody's tired. And the more you ask them to stop, the more they are fueling attacks, releasing jets anyhow. It's just like, you begin to ask yourself, but this president is cool-headed now. They are not listening to anybody. As we are doing this analysis now here, if they hear that we are saying they should calm down, they'll try another this thing. Which kind of country is this? Calm down. You have done, in fact, even the enemy is not even in sight again. But what you are saying is that, yes, those countries collaborated with the enemies to do what they are doing. We're saying this thing has gone beyond proportion. So I don't want a situation where they will run into the international laws on Geneva Convention that is signatory to it. When they run into those issues, their president will be charged for.
Really?
Yes. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He will be charged for genocide because that's where they are heading to. Even America that's why that caution is there. Now you are hitting wrong targets. You understand? So we pray that at some point they will find...
All right. Thank you so much, Brother Evans. All right, let's talk about that half hour. So the big story here, 20% of band A users without prepaid meters.
Yes, of course, we have the Okoma story again. Army board begins sitting in worry. And we have the writer here. The writer here says, Okama leader, lawyer, count us out. Our people are suffering. And also we have the sub-writer here, Okoloba leaders, we will participate. And nobody invited us, and that's coming from the chief of that particular community. Well, that's a lot actually coming from Okwama. But I would love to ask you, Barrister Evans, on this Okwama issue yet again. Of course, the press are not allowed to come into the community to see the level of disaster happening in that community. The military equally are not giving us information on what they are doing there. Now the question is, what do you think is amiss? What are we missing out?
Yeah, the issue is under investigation. You understand? And there's not much to say about it. The Delta State Governor have been having several meetings with the community, the army, and stakeholders. Okay? That has been on for a while now. Until this investigation is concluded and there's a report, then the remote and immediate causes can be made known to the public. But I find it quite disturbing that you wouldn't allow journalists to go into a community where a very grievous thing has happened. So you starve the public of information. Before you know it, rumors will take over the social space, okay? So they should have allowed journalists to go in, interview people, and feed the public with the information that's required. Because now you want to finish your investigation before you now allow people to... Even the media sometimes have a way of getting you information that the army could ordinarily not have gotten. If you have investigative journalists who can go around and in the West, when things like this happen, the army, the water forces, they go together with journalists. They will even give the journalists safety materials,
exactly.
helmets,
gears and all.
And all that. They will move in with them. And while they are investigating, the people will be reporting. So it's supposed to be a collaborative. But here, you know the Nigerian factor. They will just call out the place, nobody should, and all that.
But my question
ask
is,
them why, don't know why.
The governor, where does his power stop in this whole issue? He is the chief security officer of that state.
Yes.
So if there's one person that should have a bigger authority, apart from, of course, the federal government, he should be the one. But he seemed to be a little bit silent on this
the
issue.
Constitution did not give them that authority. They are chief security officer of the state in theory. The governor cannot control the police, cannot control the army. He does not have the powers. That's why they ask for federalism, where a state can have absolute power to control whatever. You understand? He cannot order the IG of police. The governor cannot do that. You can, even the CP in the state, except they have good relationship. If they don't have good, you cannot. Remember now, in rural state now, Mbu and Amechi.
Yes.
Remember the tussle. Amechi will say, get your men and go and do this. This place is volatile. The IG of police will ask him not to move. You understand? So he cannot. The governor is just a ceremonial security, whatever it is. The only thing he can do is when we fully hash the state policing, then he has authority to order state police and all to do whatever. Otherwise, even the policemen and his orderly and all that, the IG can withdraw them.
Right.
They withdraw Amechi's on now.
Wow.
They can withdraw them. So.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Evans. That's what we can take on the newspaper review segment this morning. Thank you so much, sir, for
My pleasure.
All right, so when we return, a Nigerian Labour Congress, a Labour Party, and daggers are drawn over who gets what, when, and how. That in a bit when we come back. Please don't go anywhere.